Your content marketing is a huge asset, but it's also a significant compliance risk. Regulators have identified influencer campaigns where firms or promoters failed to provide adequate disclosures around paid promotions. You don't need an influencer to get trapped. A single like on a comment may be viewed as adopting that content, meaning regulators may treat your firm as responsible for how that content is presented. Next, we'll cover the rules, digital traps, and tech risks to protect your firm. So where do these rules come from? For many, it's a tricky balance between the SEC and FINRA. If your firm is a dual registrant, you don't choose. You must follow both the SEC Marketing Rule and FINRA Rule 2210. A key difference is pre-approval. FINRA generally requires a principal to approve retail communications before their first use. The SEC, however, has no formal pre-approval mandate for RIAs. Instead, it demands solid internal reviews and detailed record-keeping. Make no mistake, FINRA does not pre-approve your ads. The responsibility for compliance is entirely on your firm. And these rules apply everywhere. They are technology neutral, governing a tweet, a podcast, or a printed brochure. But what about modern tactics once forbidden, like client testimonials? You'll find out why that changed right now. For decades, testimonials were banned for RIAs. The SEC changed this in 2021 to reflect how today's consumers make decisions. But this freedom has strict conditions. You must disclose if the client is current, if they were paid, and any material conflicts of interest. Record-keeping requirements are strict. Firms must retain testimonial content, client permissions, related payment records for at least 5 years under SEC rules. This ties to a core principle. All communications must be fair and balanced. This means no cherry-picking data or omitting material risks. Are you seeing the pattern? Every new marketing tool, from social media to testimonials, brings another layer of compliance duty. You see a great client comment and like it. Regulators may treat that as your firm adopting the comment, which can make you responsible for how those claims are presented. You share an interesting article. If that third-party content is misleading, regulators may still expect your firm to supervise how it is shared and address any problematic claims. You post market thoughts on your personal profile. If it's business, it's subject to full supervision and record-keeping. Recall the influencer non-compliance examples. In several cases, promoters failed to disclose they were paid, raising fair and balanced and disclosure concerns for regulators. Even unscripted video creates massive hurdles. How do you pre-approve and archive a live stream that hasn't happened yet? The digital space is hard enough, but what happens when artificial intelligence enters the picture? Using AI to write content isn't a free pass. The output must meet Rule 2210 standards, clear, balanced, and not misleading. Regulators have signaled concerns about AI washing, firms overstating or misrepresenting their AI capabilities, which is emerging as an area of enforcement focus. Another difficult area is performance data. Using hypothetical or back-tested results requires big disclosures on assumptions. But there is one line you can never cross safely. Promising guaranteed returns or risk-free investments is at odds with FINRA's prohibition on promissory or unwarranted claims. Let's connect the dots. We mentioned technology-neutral rules. This is why AI isn't an exception. The medium changes, the principles don't. The firm bears responsibility for its business communications. Combined with adoption concepts, this creates a powerful risk. You may be held accountable for amplifying content. Regulators enforce these expectations. Business-related tweets, DMs, and AI-generated messages generally need to be captured and retained according to content and channel. And the retention periods differ. Broker-dealer books and records rules generally require communications to be retained for at least 3 to 6 years. SEC typically requires 5 years. This leads to the final, most pressing question. What actually happens if you get any of this wrong? Outcomes can be severe. Some matters have involved substantial fines, restitution orders, and lasting reputational damage. Enforcement reports contain multiple documented examples. Ultimately, strict adherence to these marketing rules is not just about avoiding penalties. It's about protecting the foundation of our industry, client trust. Protect your clients, firm, and career. The risk of treating communications as an afterthought is simply too high in today's regulatory environment.